Hello everyone, Bob Pillar here from Cornerstone Law Offices. Welcome to our series of Talking with Experts. And for those viewers who were in our last episode, you probably heard Steve Kovacs from Key Wealth Strategies talking a little bit more about investment properties and how to actually strategize as far as his business is concerned. So this is part two of talking with our expert on property and investment. So two things we'll talk about, Steve, today. And if you can remember, I think we mentioned on those two areas, which were?
How a first home buyer can get into buying and invest property, and how a normal person who owns a home can buy and invest property.
There you go. So those were the two areas that we talked about, which is, just to refresh my memory, first home buyers. So if you are either, got some money, you just got a partner, or you just got enough as far as thinking forward is concerned, first home buyers. And the second one is mum and dad with a couple of kids, you got your house, and now you're looking at buying an investment property. Okay, so and if you can also touch on, Steve, all our viewers are probably sick and tired of COVID, but obviously it's a very delicate time as far as financing and property and money and everything else around COVID is concerned. How can we do this? Obviously COVID is short term, but how can we do this, still have an investment property?
Good.
Yeah.
Okay, with the first home buyers, why should a first home buyer even entertain buying a home right now, given the COVID situation? It's thinking long term, but also is a strategy of everything we do is strategy. It's long-term thinking and also short-term opportunity. Now the government is putting up at this point $15,000 in first home owners grant in Queensland, and also another grant from the government of $25,000. So there's a $40,000 advantage you're going to receive from the government for buying an owner-occupied home as a first home buyer. And associated with it are some other little things like stamp duty savings and things like that. So the opportunity for a first home buyer to get into the housing market, and if you can, the normal way of strategizing over 20 years of educating people is don't wait to buy property and wait.
Yeah, okay.
In other words, so if you can get in now and buy that owner-occupied home as a first home buyer with all the advantages, there's a couple of key things that you must understand. The stamp duty, stamp duty's office says they're going to give you a stamp duty relief, but you must stay in the property for 12 months.
Yes, okay, yeah.
Now this is a little bit conflicting for people because they think I've got the first homeowners grant and fine print of the first homeowners grant, you must be there for 6 months. So don't fall in the trap of fitting with the first homeowners grant, but you haven't fit in with the stamp duty grant relief, you can get into trouble. So you must be in it for 12 months.
Must be 12 months, yeah.
The opportunity is, if it's going to be your home, you want to stay forever, and that's the normal mindset. It's just the way of thinking as a young person, young couple. But a little bit down the track, you may see you want to move to another location, whatever. All of a sudden, after 12 months, 2 years, 3 years in that property, you can convert it to an investment property.
Right, okay. As long as you hold it for 12 months, you can. Yep.
Yeah. So all of a sudden you're in the investment property mode, because as an owner-occupier, as a first home owner's grant, once you're in there is no tax relief on anything, other than you might have some bit of work from home space. But outside that, there's no tax relief. When you convert to an investment property, everything associated with that investment property, like a small business, it's attracting rent, which is the income. Everything associated with attracting income allows you to claim expenses, so mortgage, the rates, insurance, everything, property management fees, everything associated with the expense of running a property now becomes part of your tax deduction. Massive windfall for you in getting a property working for you, while you can either rent or lean on the equity you've created in your first home to go and buy another owner-occupied home.
Very, very good. Now, we obviously, as part of the property and conveyancing, we often get a lot of first-home buyers come to us for the conveyancing side, and they do ask those questions. Obviously, if those clients had the knowledge and education around that prior, then those questions would have been answered way before they actually signed a contract. So I think that is a big chunk of the missing link, I suppose, if I could call it, where the education is lacking, because people really don't know where to go to, because you're dealing with property, you're dealing with dollar sign, a large amount of dollar sign, and I suppose it comes with the trust factor. Who do you trust these days is very important.
Exactly, and when you are engaging trust through your team from conveyancing and a person who's going to educate you on this, the trust in the first home buyer's realm is clouded with emotion. And part of our job is to take the emotion out, shake off the emotion, put it back in with a little bit of emotion, but not dictate the whole thinking and strategy process. And you can't do that by yourself. So people like yourself, like us, we get to think outside the box and give you options to think about. It's always going to be your choice. But if you've got more options, all of a sudden you go, oh, well, I chose this or I chose that, but you've got options.
Excellent, excellent. Well, Steve, thank you for explaining the first home buyers. Can you touch a little bit on the mum and dad with a investment property? And I know you've kind of captured that a little bit there, but I remember when we first met, you mentioned about buying a land and building it as opposed to getting a place with already a house there already.
Yes.
What would you say would be advantage and disadvantages?
Yeah. Well, we promote what we call buying off the plan, which means selecting a land, going to an estate where there's no house built, and we identify the lot or land that's going to work, and we identify a design that's going to work in that home. We have two contracts, a land contract and a build contract. We settle on the land contract first, because if it's a $500,000 total package, house land package, the stamp duty on that is between $18,000 and $20,000 in stamp duty. That's the government charges. If we separate that package into a land contract and a build contract and settle on the land first and then do the build later, very soon later, once we settle on the land, we're only paying stamp duty on the land, which may be $250,000, which brings the stamp duty cost down to possibly $7,000. So 18 down to 7, that's just found money. So that's
interesting.
Yeah, so that little concept there is something you work with. We show you how to do that, and then we do the build. When you add an improvement on the land, like putting a house on, you don't pay any stamp duty on the build.
Yeah, very good.
So it gives them a good strategy for that.
There you go. It's a bit of tip for the viewers out there. Well, thank you very much, Steve, for doing this second series with us. For those viewers who want to know a little bit more about either you're looking at buying a property or more about what Steve, as part of the Key Wealth Strategies, are offering, get in touch with us through the link below. Like and share our page if you've got any other team members or family members or anyone within your network that is or that are looking for buying or looking at investment properties. So thank you guys, thanks for watching, and thank you, Steve, for being part of this talk and discussion.
Yeah, pleasure, Bob. Thank you.